Have you ever wondered why some people are respected the moment they enter a room, while others are constantly ignored, interrupted, or taken for granted? It isn't because they are richer, louder, or more powerful. The difference is much deeper. It begins with one silent decision, a decision to respect yourself before expecting respect from anyone else. The Stoics understood this truth over 2,000 years ago, and today, in a world desperate for approval, their wisdom is more valuable than ever. If you've ever felt invisible, undervalued, or emotionally exhausted from constantly trying to please others, this video may change the way you see yourself forever. In today's world, many people sacrifice their peace just to avoid disappointing someone else. They stay silent when they should speak. They say yes when every part of them wants to say no. They tolerate disrespect because they fear rejection. But Stoicism teaches something completely different. It teaches that the quality of your life depends on the quality of your character, not on the opinions of others. Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus all believed that self-respect is the foundation of inner freedom. Once you learn to value yourself, something remarkable happens. You stop chasing validation. You stop explaining yourself to everyone. You stop allowing other people to decide your worth, and that single change transforms every relationship in your life. Today, we're exploring the Stoic wisdom that can help you respect yourself first, and why this simple shift changes everything. Respect is never something you beg for. It is something you quietly earn by the way you carry yourself, the standards you refuse to compromise, and the peace you protect. Stoicism reminds us that before the world can respect you, you must first become someone who refuses to betray themselves. Means the greatest mistake most people make is believing that respect comes from others. They think respect is a reward given by family, friends, co-workers, or society. So they spend years trying to earn everyone's approval. They become people pleasers. They apologize for things that are not their fault. They hide their opinions. They tolerate behavior that slowly destroys their confidence. Yet the more they seek acceptance, the less respect they receive. The Stoics saw this pattern long before modern psychology existed. They understood that people naturally notice how you treat yourself. If you constantly ignore your own needs, others eventually do the same. If you accept disrespect without consequence, people begin to believe that disrespect is acceptable. Not because they are necessarily cruel, but because human beings respond to the standards we quietly establish. Marcus Aurelius wrote that your worth is measured by the value of the things to which you devote yourself. Think about that for a moment. If your entire life revolves around making other people comfortable while neglecting your own principles, then you have unknowingly placed your value in their hands. But the Stoic refuses to surrender that power. Imagine carrying an expensive glass vase through a crowded market. Every movement becomes cautious because you know its value. You naturally protect it. Now imagine treating your own character with that same level of care. Every decision becomes different. Every conversation changes. Every relationship begins to reflect the respect you first show yourself. Many people fear that self-respect will make them selfish. Stoicism teaches the opposite. Self-respect is not arrogance. It is not believing you are better than others. It is recognizing that your dignity should never be traded for temporary comfort or approval. Epictetus was born into slavery, yet he became one of history's greatest philosophers. He owned almost nothing. He had no political power, yet he possessed something that no master could ever take away: his inner freedom. He understood that another person may control your body, your wealth, or your circumstances, but only you can surrender your self-respect. Damjus, this lesson is incredibly important today because many people unknowingly give away their emotional freedom every single day. One negative comment ruins their mood, one rejection destroys their confidence, one disagreement makes them question their value. Their happiness rises and falls according to someone else's opinion. The Stoic asks a different question. Why should another person's thoughts determine the peace inside your own mind? Blend this question changes everything because it shifts responsibility back where it belongs. With you, consider how much energy is wasted trying to impress people who have already decided how they see the world. You change your personality to fit different groups. You remain silent to avoid conflict. You laugh at jokes that offend you. You ignore your instincts because you fear standing alone. But every time you betray yourself to gain acceptance, a small part of your confidence disappears. You may not notice it immediately, but over months and years, those small compromises become the foundation of insecurity. Self-respect is built differently. It grows each time you keep a promise to yourself. And it grows each time you refuse to tolerate disrespect. It grows each time you choose honesty over popularity. It grows each time you protect your peace instead of feeding unnecessary drama. These moments may seem insignificant, but together they create an identity that cannot easily be shaken. Seneca believed that the strongest person is not the one who conquers others, but the one who conquers themselves. That conquest begins. Discipline is an act of self-respect because it tells your mind that your future matters more than your present comfort. Every morning offers a choice. Will you follow your principles or your emotions? Will you allow fear to guide your actions? Or will you remain faithful to your values even when it is uncomfortable? The Stoics understood that confidence is not something you magically feel before taking action. Confidence is the result of repeatedly proving to yourself that your values matter. Think about someone you deeply admire. Chances are you don't respect them because they try to please everyone. You respect them because they remain true to themselves even under pressure. They have boundaries. They speak honestly. They remain calm in difficult situations. They know who they are. That is exactly what Stoicism teaches. The remarkable truth is that people begin respecting you more when they realize you no longer depend on their approval. Not because you become cold or distant, but because your identity is rooted in something stronger than public opinion. Imagine waking up tomorrow completely free from the need to impress anyone. How would you speak? What decisions would you make? Which relationships would you leave behind? Which dreams would you finally pursue? These questions reveal how much of your life may still be controlled by fear rather than wisdom. The Stoic path is not easy. It requires courage to disappoint people when necessary. It requires patience to build inner strength slowly. It requires discipline to remain calm when others misunderstand you. But every step toward self-respect is also a step toward freedom. Because the moment you stop asking the world for permission to value yourself, your entire life begins to change. Most people believe respect is something that arrives after success. They tell themselves that once they earn more money, achieve a higher position, or gain recognition, people will finally value them. But the Stoics understood that success without self-respect is empty. A person who has everything but cannot stand by their own principles remains a prisoner of other people's opinions. The first sign of genuine self-respect is learning to become comfortable with solitude. There is a difference between loneliness and solitude. Loneliness is the fear of being alone. Solitude is the confidence to enjoy your own company. When you constantly seek company because silence makes you uncomfortable, you unknowingly hand your emotional stability to others. But when you can sit quietly with your own thoughts, reflect on your actions, and remain at peace without constant validation, you develop a strength that cannot be taken away. Pamea. Epictetus reminded his students that no person has power over your mind unless you willingly surrender it. This teaching becomes incredibly practical in everyday life. Imagine someone criticizes you unfairly. The ordinary reaction is anger, sadness, or the desperate need to defend yourself. The Stoic reaction is different. Before responding, they ask a simple question: is this criticism true? If it is true, they learn from it. If it is false, they refuse to let it disturb their peace. Either way, they remain in control. This mindset is not about pretending emotions do not exist. Stoicism never asks you to suppress your humanity. Instead, it teaches you to pause before reacting. In that pause lies your freedom. A few seconds of thoughtful reflection can prevent years of regret. Among another foundation of self-respect is the courage to set boundaries. Many people fear saying no because they worry others will become disappointed or upset. Yet every unnecessary yes often becomes a quiet no to your own priorities. Every time you sacrifice your values to satisfy everyone else, you weaken the trust you have in yourself. Healthy boundaries are not walls built to keep people out. They are doors that allow the right people in while protecting your peace from those who refuse to respect it. The people who truly care about you will understand your boundaries. Those who become angry because you finally value yourself often benefited from the absence of those boundaries. Marcus Aurelius ruled one of the greatest empires in history, yet he constantly reminded himself that every person, regardless of status, should act according to virtue rather than public opinion. Imagine carrying that philosophy into your own life. Instead of asking, "Will people approve?" begin asking, "Is this consistent with my character?" That single question can transform your decisions. There will always be people who misunderstand your intentions. Some will criticize your growth because it reminds them of the changes they refuse to make. Others will feel uncomfortable when you stop accepting disrespect. Do not mistake their discomfort for evidence that you are doing something wrong. Often, it is simply proof that you have changed. One of the greatest gifts of self-respect is emotional independence. Emotional independence does not mean you stop loving people. It means your happiness is no longer controlled by their approval. You appreciate kindness without becoming dependent on it. You accept compliments without needing them to define your worth. You welcome relationships while remembering that your identity remains complete even without external validation. This is why Stoicism continues to inspire millions of people centuries later. It reminds us that true power begins within. The strongest person is rarely the loudest. The strongest person is often the calmest, the one who remains composed during chaos, who speaks thoughtfully instead of impulsively, and who protects their integrity even when no one is watching. Think about the kind of person you want to become 5 years from now. Will that future version of yourself thank you for constantly seeking approval? Or will they thank you for having the courage to stand firm in your principles today? Every choice you make shapes that future. Every promise you keep to yourself strengthens your character. Every difficult decision made with integrity builds a life you can genuinely respect. Remember that self-respect is not built in a single day. It is created through countless ordinary moments. It is choosing discipline over excuses. It is speaking honestly when it would be easier to remain silent. It is walking away from situations that destroy your peace. It is forgiving yourself for past mistakes while refusing to repeat them. There will be setbacks. There will be days when fear whispers that you should shrink yourself to make others comfortable. There will be moments when standing by your values feels lonely. But those are the moments that define your character. Every challenge becomes an opportunity to prove to yourself that your principles are stronger than your fears. The Stoics believed that we cannot control the world, but we can always control the person we choose to become. This truth is both humbling and empowering. You cannot control whether everyone respects you. You cannot control every opinion, every misunderstanding, or every outcome. But you can control your honesty, your discipline, your patience, and your self-respect. Those qualities are entirely within your reach. Blamed as you move forward, remember this simple principle. Never trade your inner peace for temporary approval. The applause of the crowd fades quickly, but the respect you earn from your own conscience lasts a lifetime. When you learn to value yourself first, you no longer chase respect. You naturally attract it. Stand a little taller. Speak a little more honestly. Protect your time. Guard your peace. Keep your promises to yourself. Let your actions reflect your values instead of your fears. Over time, you will notice something remarkable. You are no longer living to impress others. You are living according to principles that cannot be shaken by criticism or praise. Poland. That is the quiet strength the Stoics wanted every person to discover. And once you discover it, everything truly begins to change. If this message resonated with you, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to Daily Stoic Dose, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another lesson on Stoicism, self-mastery, and inner peace. Share this video with someone who needs to hear these words today. Remember, the journey to a stronger life begins with one decision. Respect yourself first.